Hey there, and welcome to this little episode of Storytime. So this week I'm going to tell you the story of how I had to save my cat, or cat, whatever. But yeah, I had to save my cat sometimes, and that was just horrible. And cats are ungrateful if you save them. If you ever have saved a cat from any kind of situations, they are really, really ungrateful. Of course, if the cat is really scared, she might just crawl into a ball and she might be easy to save. But if she has still a little bit of fight in her, it's just horrible to save a cat. And I got 3 cats, so I had to do a lot of saving. It's just, it's horrible. For example, the first time I had to save a cat, it was from my oldest cat. I think she's 8 now, 8 to 9-ish. I can't really recall that, but yeah. So she's 8.5. So yeah. Of course, the first time I had to save her, I had one of those fly catching things. You put them on the wall and they have this gluey stuff on them, and it attracts flies and they will land on it and they will be glued to it and they will die. It's basically a very sadistic way to kill them, but yeah, so I had one of those things and it was dangling from my ceiling and everything was fine, and of course it was dangling from my ceiling and there was this mild breeze, so it was moving a little bit. And if you know a cat, if there's something that's tiny and it's moving, just cats love that. So of course she jumped on that thing, and of course it was twirled all around her body and it stuck to her body because it stuck really good on hair. So yeah, it was all around her body, and of course I tried to get it off, but of course she didn't let me anywhere close to her. She was running around with it, she was trying to get it off, she was throwing herself to walls and stuff like that. It was horrible. But yeah, so after a while I catched her, and of course she fought back a lot. So I had to get her. I tried to cut it off, but that just didn't seem right. It just didn't work very well, and I was afraid to cut her. And I tried to just rip it off, but that made her scream. So no, that wasn't a good idea. So of course I did the only right thing. I put her into my shower and I showered the cat. And I don't know if you know that, but cats hate water. That's just it's amazing how much they hate water. So of course she was screaming and she was trying to run, but after a while, I had fixed her down and I got rid of that thing, and yeah, I saved her. And of course for the rest of the week she was mad at me. She didn't even come close to me. She would just sit in some dark corner and stare at me with evil eyes, just like cats do that sometimes. And of course I was afraid for my life because she could just suffocate me in my sleep. But yeah, and for example, the second time, oh my god, that was, with my middle cat. She's 2 years younger than the oldest cat, so she is about 6.5-ish. I don't know, I can't do math in my head right now. But yeah, the first time I had to save her was actually when she was born. I was with her when she was born, and when she popped out of her mother, usually when kittens pop out of their mother, they are in this little sack kind of thing, and the mother will bite it open and she will eat it. This kind of disgusting, and she will start licking the baby, clean of all the blood and all the fleshy stuff that's there, all the disgusting stuff. She will just lick the baby clean. And the thing is, if the baby doesn't start, it will accelerate her blood flow in the baby. So yeah, and it will warm her and stuff like that. And usually the baby will start, crying after a while, like, oh my god, you're hurting me, because, a cat's tongue is really rough. So yeah, it will start to cry. It will give a tone, but she didn't. She just didn't make a tone. I saw her moving, but she didn't give up a tone. And if they don't make any kind of sound, they will just get eaten. That's just how mothers do it with cat. Cat mothers just eat their babies if they don't make a sound. And so I poked her a little bit, and I don't know, I massaged her belly and stuff like that. And of course, after a while, I think, I don't know, maybe it hurt her, or it just was, it just was enough stimulation. But, she gave a sound, and bam, that was the first time I had to save her from being eaten by her own mother. It's, you can't say that very often. Just imagine in how many situations that sentence can be applied. But yeah, oh, and the second time I had to save the same cat. I was living in this apartment. And, you know, I got two balconies. One is completely covered with a ceiling and the other is a free balcony. But there is a little, I don't know how to call it, a little edge where you can actually enter the roof. You shouldn't do it because it's very dangerous, but you can actually do it. And guess what this cat did? She climbed on top of the freaking roof. So she was standing on top of the roof and no. The roofs in Germany, I don't know if they look the same all around the world, but in Germany they look like a spear, you know, they're very speary. So she was standing on top of that spear looking roof. And, you know, cats don't like the height apparently if it's too high, and she couldn't get down there again, so she was standing on top of that freaking roof in the middle of the freaking night and she was screaming. She was screaming, "Oh my god, save me!" And the roof was wet and slippery because it had rained before. So can you imagine that? How hard it was for me? You know, I was standing on that roof. Not standing on the roof, but I was standing at the roof. I was almost falling down. It's only, I think it's only 2 floors down, but I don't think I would have died, but it would be painful. It would be painful, yeah. So I was standing there and I was screaming at her, "Come on, please get down there, please." And, you know, after a while, she just started slithering down very slowly. And, you know, in the last moment, just before she, you know, crashed down from the roof, I could grab her by the tail. That must have been very painful. I grabbed her by the tail, pulled her in, and yeah, she was safe. And oh my god, my heart, it is almost exploded in that moment because I was so nervous that, you know, I don't know, I like my cats. I don't want it to die. If you have cats or dogs, you might, you know that feeling. So yeah, and the last time was actually about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago I had to save that cat. On the other balcony, there is this little, you know, I have no idea how to call it, but there are flowers and stuff like that. You can jump up there. It just basically stops you from falling down the balcony. I have no idea how to call it, but yeah, she was on top of that and they are not allowed on top of that thing. So yeah, of course, in the middle of the night, I heard a scream. I went outside and she fell down from that thing. So she fell down the balcony and she landed in some kind of thorn bush. Thorn bush? I have no... Is it bush? Yeah, thorn bush. In some kind of thorns. You know, she landed in there and she was sitting in there and she was screaming, of course, because it was painful and she couldn't move because of the thorns. You know, whenever she tried to move a limb, it would get stuck with a thorn. So she couldn't move. And the thing was, I couldn't get to her from beneath that thing, and I couldn't get to her from the balcony. So the only real thing I could do was get a ladder, get beside that freaking bush thing, beside those thorns, and jump into them. Yes, I really did that. I jumped into the thorns. And, you know, my whole body, it still looks kind of weird because there is a little, it's not scarring, but, you know, I had loads of wounds and cuts all over my body and especially on my right arm, full of cuts. And of course, the moment I tried to get the cat, you know, I pulled her out, she started to hack at me with her claws. It was, so I bleeded even more. So when I came back to the apartment, she was of course frightened, but I was bleeding on my whole freaking body from saving that cat. So yeah, saving that cat might get me killed in the future. So, and that was my story of how I had to save cats. I think there might be more occasions when I had to save them, but that should be enough. It's almost 9 minutes, so yeah. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comment section and please rate the video. And that was it for this week's episode of Storytime. As I said, I hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice day. I'm iLostLink, signing out.